YouTube? It's Sensei, the place to be, chilling with your homie, Mr. A&E. I am finally back doing the midweek wrestling review. We have not done this in months. I think the last time me and Prime did a proper midweek wrestling review was back in October of 2022. And the thing is, I really don't watch NXT like that. I'm just gonna be really honest with you. I don't watch NXT like that, and it was hard for us to watch Dynamite at the same time and then come back and he'd be busy and review it. I didn't want to review by myself, or I didn't feel as though Dynamite was going to do such things. I really wasn't just in our wrestling, especially towards the end of the year. But now I'm like, okay, well, look, we can't pass this up because NXT had New Year's Evil and Dynamite had their best show of the year so far, which is like one of the best Dynamites we ever seen. It was like a free pay-per-view almost of what it was like. So I was like, well, we gotta talk about this. I don't know what Prime's future is going to be on these reviews, to be honest with you, but I am going to try to still bring these reviews separate than we used to do, and we used to do in part of the podcast. I'm still planning on bringing these things to you guys like this in this format. I do love talking about AEW, and then sometimes when NXT does something right, I do like to talk about it because I don't usually mention it on the podcast and stuff like that. So, but if you guys are new here, make sure you guys check out the podcast. Subscribe to the podcast. No Gimmicks Needed Wrestling podcast. We talk about all that. We got a lot to talk about this weekend because, the news, right? But right now, it's just like, let's just talk wrestling. Let's just talk what they got going on in wrestling. So we're going to start with New Year's Evil. New Year's Evil was NXT's, type of show, which I'm kind of shocked because I was like, why are they doing New Year's Evil now opposed to the first NXT of the year? But it's at the top of the year, so we getting that done. So New Year's Evil. New Year's Evil starts off with Chase University, basically hyping up New Year's Evil, like Andre Chase and the whole Chase University thing, just talking about New Year's Evil, hyping that thing up, and we have the first matchup, which is Dijak taking on Tony D'Angelo. Now, like I said, since I don't be watching NXT consistently at all, I catch the highlights, I catch the YouTube clips, something like that. I really don't understand what's the storyline stuff going on. I know Dijak came back. I'm happy for Dijak, but him and Tony D'Angelo had a match. I didn't know they was feuding, to be honest with you. But the match is cool. But Dijak gets the win over Tony D'Angelo, which he should have. So Gigi Dolan and JC Jane and Becky, they plan to win the Battle Royal to get revenge on Roxanne Perez, because whoever wins the Battle Royal is going on to face Roxanne Perez, because this was supposed to be the show. Mandy Rose and Roxanne Perez had the title match, because of the thing with Mandy Rose happened, they got the title off of her and Roxanne Perez won. She was going to win the title, but it was going to be at this show. But now we got a Battle Royal coming up, and whoever wins is going to win the opportunity to face Roxanne Perez. In this, what was it? It's in this year. I want to make sure I get the name right. Versus the Creed brothers, but it didn't start because Satan came out. Veer wasn't there, and in reality, Veer lost his father, I believe it was, so he wasn't there. But he said he would honor their match on 2-on-1. But then Jinder Mahal comes out. Jinder Mahal, back in NXT, whoop-de-doo, attacked the Creed brothers from behind and left Julius and Brutus laid out. Okay. Backstage, we get a New Day segment with Pretty Deadly, talking about since the Indus Creed Brothers match didn't happen, that means they're up next to have a tag team gauntlet match. So, sure. I was just like, okay, we still gotta find something for it to do, because, like, honestly, the show felt kind of empty on certain things. Like, I was excited for the championship match, but the things kind of felt kind of empty. Pretty Deadly start off with some jobbers. I was just like, this is what we're gonna be doing right now. But the jobbers, and then they came out to the Rockets theme. I was just like, not the Rockets, good lord, the Rockers. Saying Shawn Michaels and Mario Jannetty, the Rockers. They came out with to that thing. I was like, what the hell are these people? Well, they came out and then they lost, and then New Day bring out Idris Info and Malik Blade. I was like, I like the uppercoming tag team. I like the Hood and the Nerd, and they came over there and the matchup was actually pretty decent. I was like, I thought he was gonna probably win it, but then Pretty Deadly won that matchup too. And then they tried to announce Brooks and Jensen was coming out next, and then Xavier was like, Brooks and Jensen, and they didn't come out. They was getting jumped in the back. So it was like the final part of the gauntlet, because Pretty Deadly thought he was gonna win this thing, was Gallus comes out, Mark Coffey and Wolfgang come, and then they beat Pretty Deadly. So welcome to NXT. Well, I mean, you know, Gallus was UK, all right. This is why I need prime time on certain things like this, but yeah, so they can't beat up Pretty Deadly. Backstage, Ivy now was talking to Julius Creed because he was upset, and then Julius need to put a stop to this. So remember that restaurant that Apollo Crews used to always be in, and he would, you know, write down his notes in his diary and stuff like that? Well, Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams is now in that restaurant, and they talking about, you know, the reason why Apollo's name was never be on that championship, because it's going to be Carmelo Hayes, which he needs to be going for that NXT championship. And he said, Trick Williams was like, hey, Lo, we ain't going to write this down. We just want to speak it into existence. So I thought it was pretty good. Tiffany Stratton makes her return to the ring, beautiful as ever, comes in there, and she has developed a lot. So now she's letting the universe know that she's back. Now the NXT championship matchup, I was like, now? I really thought that was the main event. Braun Breaker taking on Grayson Waller, and I was just like, there got to be something funny happening if they're going to be putting on that match right now. I'm like, it's this the middle of the show. We got like about an hour left, and I'm just like, I was a little shocked by that one. So obviously, as the match is going on, you know, it's a pretty decent one for that. But what happens is, Braun Breaker, I think he tries to go for like a, I don't want to say jackhammer, I guess a brain buster, something like that. Grayson Waller goes out and he pushes him into the turnbuckle, but the ring snaps, and I was just like, what? And they tried to, I think they tried to fix it. I don't know how many times it broke. I see it the first time. Somebody told me it broke twice. I'm not too sure of it. But I'm just like, and then they stopped the match, and I was like, that kind of turned me off to the whole thing, to be honest with you. And I was like, so that was what they were setting up for. Okay. Backstage, Axiom wants to team up with Apollo Crews to take on Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. He was inside your restaurant, man, so we gotta take him out. All that stuff. Charlie Dempsey defeated Hank Walker. Let me tell you something. I didn't pay no attention to this match at all. I really don't. But Charlie Dempsey won. Vignette for Tyler Bate coming back to NXT next week. I'm excited for Tyler Bate. I like Tyler Bate. And Jinder Mahal takes on Julius Creed. Actually, the match was actually pretty good. But Jinder Mahal does hit the Colossus on Julius Creed, and there's a win in the matchup in his NXT return. I mean, like, Julius Creed was bleeding from the mouth. He was really going hard in this. And I see him obviously as the star of the Creed brothers going forward. But I as of right now, you don't need to break them up. I like the Creed brothers, okay? And I think the Creed brothers can do good when they finally do get caught up on the main roster. Excuse me. Some video aired of his NXT UK Stevie Turner coming to NXT. Was talking about, like, she has like this hacker gimmick kind of thing, or streamer. I didn't care. Then they had the 20-woman Battle Royal for the number one contenders match. And the Battle Royal was simple Battle Royal. Cora Jade got eliminated first. I was like, did not see that coming. And throughout the whole match, she kept trying to find her, weasel her way back in, keep getting eliminated. That was the joke. Zoe Starks was getting eliminated, and all these other people were getting eliminated. I was like, I honestly thought Tiffany Stratton was going to be in it. I know she announced her coming back, but I thought she was going to probably be in it. But then it comes down to the final two members of Toxic Attraction. I'm just like, JC Jane and Gigi Dolan. And I thought they was going to, like, just jump over themselves, whatever the case may be. But now they just started fighting each other. And I was like, oh, damn, I didn't want that to have Toxic Attraction. But I know Randy Rose is going. And they both end up getting eliminated. And now it looks like it's going to be a triple threat match at Vengeance Day for Roxanne Perez's championship. So we'll see what happens with that. Then at the end of the show, Shawn Michaels is declared there with Braun Breaker, and Grayson Waller. So what happened at the matchup. So now we're going to have no kind of messages at all, because now it's going to be at Vengeance Day a steel cage match. I was like, okay. I mean, that'll probably be a little bit better, but honestly, Braun Breaker needs to beat the shit out of Grayson Waller, then lose the championship to Carmelo Hayes and get called up to the main roster. That's probably what's going to necessarily happen. I don't think Braun Breaker needs a whole another year in NXT. You know, so neither does Carmelo Hayes, to be honest with you, but I want to see Carmelo Hayes as the champion. Well, now that was the end of NXT New Year's Eve. Now it's time to move on to AEW Dynamite. It is Wednesday, and you do know what that means. in saying it in my Jim Raw, we have a packed show. It's almost, you could call this Dynamite a free pay-per-view. That's what it was. It was packed to the gills in this show, and I mean, it started off hot. Let me see. They were in the Kia Forum in Los Angeles, California, and I was like, the Forum, man, Showtime Lakers. You know what I'm saying? So now we kick off with Jon Moxley taking on Hangman Page. We know the whole story of when Moxley concussed Hangman legitimately, and Hangman he was out for about 85 days, I think it was, or almost 3 months with that concussion, and they decided to take a negative and turn it to a positive by making it a storyline. I was cool with that, and now we finally get the matchup, and I mean, ding ding ding, ain't no lockup. We in this joint fighting, y'all. We fighting. That's what was going on with this matchup. I enjoyed all the kind of stuff like that, and it was just a good back and forth, like hit. And to the point they was open hand palm slapping each other. They was giving each other the headbutts. It, like, the story was like they were trying to concuss each other, and I was just like, my God. But Moxley tries to go for Moxley tries to go for a pile driver, and then Page hits the dead eye. But then like that movie holds you, it stays you on the head. But then Moxley would get up, and then he would do a curb stomp. I ain't like that. Me personally, I'm not a fan of those kind of sells like that, the delay sell. And then Moxley's the first one to get back up. But Moxley tries to go for Paradigm Shift, does not work. Page has some stagger, and then goes for the buckshot lariat and pins Moxley. He kind of goes a little bit inside out, and then Page cleanly wins the matchup. After the match, he starts checking on Moxley. You can see him mouth like, "Where am I?" Like he has a concussion, so you can walk him out. Now that's more the storyline, because Moxley's going on vacation. He earned the vacation. He deserves a vacation. He was going to go on vacation until CM Punk kind of fucked everything up, and then he had to come back, and then he had to go put the company on his shoulders again, and that's what happened. But now he's going to go take a much-needed break. So that's where Moxley's going to be going. Tony Schiavone's in the ring, and he announces that he does. Was it he regrets to bring this person down? Now it's just like, well, it's time to bring out MJF. But no, it is Adam Cole, baby. Adam Cole is back. We haven't seen Adam Cole in 6 months. The last time I see Adam Cole was Forbidden Door. So yeah, about 6 months, Adam Cole comes back in there and says, he loves the fans, but I got some good news, I got some bad news. Well, let's start off with the good news. Is that I value professional wrestling and life a little bit more. He talked about how he had a concussion. He couldn't ride in the car for more than 15 minutes without throwing up or being, getting sick, and then he would wake up 4 o'clock in the morning with these bad headaches, and Bray be like, "What's wrong?" And he'd be like, "I don't know what's wrong with me," with a tear coming down his face. So he was for bad, but all the fans kept him going by sending him well wishes. They said they don't even care if Adam Cole doesn't wrestle again. We just want to make sure he's okay. He said that meant a lot. And that meant a lot to him. But time for the bad news. And everybody was like, "Oh no." And he said the bad news isn't for me. It's for the AEW locker room to let everybody know that Adam Cole is back, baby. And the crowd just erupted, and they just cheered and stuff like that. And then he said, "No, Adam, I'm not done yet." He wants everybody to remember this day is the day that Adam Cole is born, and promise no matter how long it takes, he will be at the top of the mountain. And so, yeah, Adam Cole's being babyface right now. Bobby Fischer's not there no more. He's doing like Impact, whatever he's doing. Like, what is the lie? And then Kyle O'Reilly, He's still injured and still not doing the best. So the Undisputed Era versus the Elite thing, that's not going to happen now. Plans change. Adam Cole being babyface, which everybody loves Adam Cole in the first place. Sure, let's do it. The Acclaim of Billy Gunn said on Friday on Rampage they will be getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and he said the board of directors have unanimously voted the Acclaim. We see the star and stuff like that. So that's what the thing's going on. Now, Lee Moriarty and Big Bill will Stokely Hathaway take on Hook and Jungle Boy Jack Perry, aka Jungle Hook. So this matchup, obviously from last week that I didn't get a chance to talk about, was when Big Bill chokeslammed Jungle Boy in the apron, and then Hook kind of stared him down and everything. Then AT suplexing this guy. Well, they had about one botch in the matchup. That he tried to go for a chokeslam to Jungle Boy on the outside. Hook missed the basement drop kick, and Big Bill sold it anyway. But it was all just hyping up to the spot. And the spot was Hook's sitting there looking at Big Bill. He tries to go for the T-bone. Big Bill stuffs it. Then he goes again, he stuffs it again. But then Jungle Boy comes in there, gets a hit on him, and then Hook hooks him and then launches him over his head with that T-bone. I was like, oh, he popped up hips, like his dad said, and got Big Bill over, and then Jungle Boy put Lee Moriarty in the snare trap, and then they win the match, and they were mad over. Backstage, we had Orange Cassidy with Dan Housing talking to Golden Globe winner Paul Walter Halster. So that they wanted to talk to him about he gonna reveal what's in his box on Rampage. And then asked if everything was okay with Cassidy and the Best Friends. And they said everything was okay, knowing it's really not okay. But I don't care about Best Friends. I told you that at the beginning. I never cared about Best Friends. Next up, a match I was waiting for. Bryan Danielson versus Takeshita. Because I want to make sure I get this done right. Man, I was waiting for this matchup. But before the match can even take place, Takeshita comes down and MJF music comes. It hits it. He comes to the ring with his Ballberry belt. So he comes off. He said, you know what? He never really seen any Takeshita stuff because he fast forwards through AEW till he gets to his part. Because he's the best part of the show. And then he says, and he asks if his name is Takeshita. And he asks him, you better not do that because I need you to win the match tonight. So Bryan Danielson doesn't get his Iron Man match at Revolution. Takeshita responds Japanese, and MJF as a prick move say, here we speak American, and then he said, that you can kiss his ass. MJF pushes him, he pushes back. MJF says back to him, oh, Arbor, get him out of here, or I'm gonna find him, even though he can't really find him. So, he goes on, and then he starts talking about, look, y'all people say I can't make it in the ring for an hour, but to be honest with you, I can make it an hour with your mother, your sister, and also I can go all night long. And they start see, we got some celebrities in there. We got King John here, and then he said, I liked you in The Hangover. What was that, about 20 years ago? And there's other show that he liked. What was it? Doctor something. I don't know what it shows. I don't really watch his shows. But he said, oh, y'all can't see that because it got canceled. Then Freddie Prinze Jr. Was in the ring, and then was in the thing. He said, the only thing I know you for is a supporting role, and or it was a supporting role talking to a CGI doll going by Scooby-Doo. He played Fred, and then he said, "You're not anything but a Scooby-Doo douchebag." I thought that was funny. So with Danielson music come down, and then Danielson runs to the ring. MJF is panicking that he gets out. That he, haul ass to the back. But now we get the match started, and the match is what you expect. It's a damn good matchup. One of the best matches this year, even though the month just started. And when you got Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega, and then when you got Bryan Danielson and Takeshita, this stuff goes down. Takeshita gave Danielson a brain buster on the floor. Then there was a thing where, Takeshi dropped dancing on his head, then held on to him, and then went into a German suplex. And Bryanson kicked out, but he held on, and then he goes to the suplex and lands on his feet, and then gives him a flying knee. But then Takeshi kicks out, but then he puts him in the crossface and he submits. So that was the match. It really was a good match. I recommend you go back and check that match out on Dynamite, or even look at the clip that they have on YouTube. Juice Robinson was Orange Cassidy of Rampage. Okay. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Darby Allin, not Orange Cassidy. Darby Allin. My apologies. Tony Storm and Saraya take on Jamie Hayter and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Even I knew fans were probably gonna be disappointed when Tony Storm came out and it wasn't not Mercedes money. Okay, money. But they told you who it was going to be. They told you who it was going to be, so they wouldn't have had this happen. But everybody really thought that Tony Storm was going to get taken out, and it was going to be Mercedes Moné. So the matchup was pretty good, as you expect, with Jamie Hayter and Tony Storm and all these people in there. Because Sheeta was out. Hikaru Shida was on the outside, and she tossed it her kendo stick. Now she tossed it in the middle because she made it seem like she was trying to give it to Tony Storm. But then Britt Baker picked it up, hit Tony Storm in the back, and then Jamie Hayter hit her lariat on Tony Storm, won the matchup. And then she looked all surprised, but no, this is all part of her heel turn, and I can't wait for it. I mean, her full heel turn. Rampage this Friday, Anna Jay and Ty Mello take on Ruby Soho and Willow Nightingale in a street fight. So I may look. Toy Con's trying to put more effort into Rampage. So I may actually check out Rampage, talk about it on the podcast. Who knows? But right now the JS come down to the ring to do a promo. They all got their gold jackets on and everything, and then they invaded Los Angeles a couple of nights ago, and then he sent an Action Andretti back to the minor leagues. But here go Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks and Action Andretti come out to the top of the ring. There is this one woman. I mean, she is hollering. She is like, whoo, whoo. I was like, oh, she is just in the crowd, just getting wet. Okay, over Ricky Starks. Like you cannot but not hear this woman. So Ricky Starks, calls Jericho Appreciations jazz holes, and the crowd starts going back at it. And he tells that he wants Jericho move his wide ass. He was talking to Jake Hager that he wants a match with him next week on Dynamite, and talk about a stupid hat. And this whole hat gimmick is getting on my damn nerves. And actually, Andretti actually gets on the mic and actually comes at Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara pretty good. I was like, he can hold his own on the mic. Hold his own on the mic. But that was the biggest part of this awesome show, because the best we finally get to the main event. And the main event is the ladder match. Match 7 between the Elite taking on Death's Triangle. You already know, I was like, there's only about 20 to 15 minutes left on this show. And I'll tell you right now, I was like, there's no, how they going to do this? They had to fit 30 minutes worth of stuff in 15 minutes. So this match was crazy with spots. And the ones I can remember, Kenny Omega goes for his tope over the ropes, and he got out the way. He falls right through a table. Nick Jackson does a 450 from the top rope to the outside through a table to I guess was it Pentagon? I'm not sure. Then Pentagon does his package pile driver to Matt Jackson on a ladder bridge from the ring to a ladder inside the ring. But then Kenny Omega hits a one-wing angel from that ladder bridge down to the mat on the Phoenix, and as he is down, Pac hits a black arrow on Kenny Omega. Like, this shit was crazy. Like, y'all gotta go back and actually see, like, this stuff was really crazy. But in the end, which we knew was going to happen, Kenny Omega climbs and he gets the championships, and the Elite win the Trios championships, which we knew was always going to be the case. And I'm just like, okay, so now we've seen all 7 matches of these. Now, this wasn't even the best match out of all 7 of them, But we already know, like, we can take a break from them. We can go into a new trail. Like, I think House of Black is the next feud the Elite and the House of Black can do. And I'm like, okay, I'm cool with that. I would like to see some House of Black or Tommy End stuff against Kenny Omega. So, you know, or Malachi Black, to say the least. But that was AEW Dynamite, the best show by far in a while, okay? Especially since the last time I did one of these reviews. And obviously Dynamite gets to win. Like, it honestly set up some things that I'm like, maybe I'll check out Rampage. Well, I mean, if I do, I'll review it on the podcast. I'm not going to make it its own separate review, but I may, you know, check the thing out because I haven't watched Rampage in months. Okay, I just have not watched Rampage in months. I was like, it was getting too lazy for me. But post that comments down below. Who had the better show this week? It's obviously AEW. But if you're an NXT person, you know, say post that in the comments down below. Hit the like button if you guys enjoyed my review. Hit the subscribe button for more reviews, content, and wrestling content, especially with news about 2K23 about to come up soon. All right here on NC Studios. So once again, it's NC and place to be. Chill Mr. Andy, and the Nerd Coalition is out.